All right, well, that's it. I mean, we've already been chatting it up. I feel like we just start this thing.
Everyone missed it.
I know. Well, welcome to the Battery Not Included podcast. I have my friend here, Yvette Nipar.
Yes.
Don't ask Siri how to say your last name.
Do not.
Because it says all different last
She'll
names.
say Nipar, I think.
Yeah. I said Nipar.
Lord.
I said, is it Nipar? It's Nipar? Napar? I don't know.
It's Yvette Nipar.
So here we are.
Yeah.
And we were kind of chatting a little bit about all the things that you've been in, and 21 Drum Street.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Those were two of the, especially RoboCop. I remember as a kid watching the movie and then immediately seeing that the TV show had come out.
Can't even. How old were you when you watched it?
I had to have been 11 by then.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember
feel so old now.
My mom wouldn't even let me stay up to watch it because I think it started at like 8 p.m.
Oh my gosh!
And I would sneak out and watch, and then when you had reached out to me recently to help do some work with you, I was like, no way, Yvette, is it? Oh my! So I always.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my mom loves hearing the progress in which I'm making in my film career.
Right on.
And so I hit her up and I said, you'll never guess who asked me to do some work. And she's like, who? And I said, Yvette Nipar. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I said, look. And I always share the IMDb. Right. And she's like, RoboCop. And I said, I know. So welcome to the show. And
thank you so much.
Me. Yeah. You're one of the coolest chicks that I've met in the industry. I'm going to start off with saying that.
Well, thank you.
And I respect you as an actress, as the work that you've done.
Thank you.
And kind of just wanted to use this opportunity to kind of pick your brain on how you got in the industry and kind of where you are now in the industry and how you're adapting to this new Hollywood.
Sure.
So that all being said, how did you get into, where did your love for cinema start?
Well, my mom used to take us to the drive-in theaters when I was 10, 11 years old, and I just remember sitting in the car and you put the little sound majobber, whatever that thing is called. Is it majobber? That's a new word. Sound majobber. You'd put the speaker on the window, and I would fight my brother to be next to it, right? Because I just love listening to the dialogue and, the change in scenery, and it's dark, and then the credits would roll, and I'd be like, oh, man, back to reality. Like, I could just sit at the drive-in theater all day or all night because he's nighttime, but, yeah, that's how And plus, TV in general was sort of an escape because childhood was crazy in my house, So, yeah, I watched a lot of TV.
Do you remember the first movie you saw?
Yeah, I would not suggest seeing The Exorcist at 10 years old.
That's your first film you saw?
Or a drive-in theater. Yeah, it was awful. I had horrible dreams for probably a decade. I had dreams where I, or if I laid off flat on my back, I thought I was going to elevate.
Yeah. Or if you turned your head too much to the right, you thought it was going to keep spinning around.
Pea soup, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, I have a similar story. My first film was actually E.T., but my first shock film was Alien. My parents.
Gosh, when that alien comes.
Yeah, and I was born in '81, so it was I was probably 3 years old. My parents went on a date and they had a babysitter come in. And she's like, want to watch a movie? I still can remember every detail of this.
Amazing.
And we put this on, and right away I was just so immersed in this film. I remember going, whoa, what is this?
Right.
Not knowing what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden you see an alien burst out of this guy's chest. And and I remember that night it was raining, and we had the Skylab. And so you would hear the raindrops.
Right.
And it was bedtime, and I'm just laying there just thinking of all these aliens. And my parents came home, probably at midnight, and it just freaked me out hearing the door open. And so, yeah, The Exorcist, man, that's a good one to
yeah, and then I remember the first time I said, to hell with this, I'm laying on my back. I hadn't slept on my back for like a decade, and I just laid there and I go to sleep, Yvette, you're not going to elevate, it's going to be okay. And I didn't, and I was like, yeah.
And then when did the idea to come in to start being an actress, to work in the film industry?
I took a class in high school just to get an extra credit. It was like a theater class or something. And I just remember my teacher gave me the lines, and I was working on them, and we did a scene. I was like, I kind of dig this. I thought I was going to go be a model or something, because I just always wanted to be a model. But I'm 5'6", forget about it. And but I did go to Japan for 3 months as a model. I made a lot of money in Japan. When I came back here, I did things like teen magazine covers and stuff like that. So that was fun. But in the back of my mind, I was like, God, do I want to do that acting thing? That I really liked it in high school. And then I met a woman in a clothing store, and we were chatting on Melrose. And she goes, you know what, you should call my friend. He's an agent, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right. So complete by happenstance that I got an agent.
That's almost unheard of now.
I know,
because,
dude. You don't even know. I was like blown away. And 3 weeks later, I'm doing the lead in a film. Well, it's a low-budget film, but with Martin Landau, of all people. Like, forget about it. And Dick Van Dyke. It was Dick Van. No, it was Jerry Van Dyke. Sorry. Good Lord. I did work with Dick Van Dyke on his show, though, later. Anyway, yeah, I knew I was very lucky. I knew it.
And so the thing I liked about your acting when I'm watching is the subtleties of your acting. When I'm watching actors go and they're kind of talking, but your eyes, your movement, your breaks, you really embody these characters so on a nuance, stuff that I'm like, how do you teach that? And so was that just innate when you started? Because, I mean, how do you get discovered shopping and then all of a sudden now you're like in a film? Like,
yeah, well, after that film, I went straight to General Hospital on a contract role. And you kind of got paid to learn, hit your mark and learn a lot of dialogue every day. So that was kind of cool. I got paid to learn on that show for a year. And then I think you and I talked about this before, but I feel like I was told to just listen to what the other actor is saying, and everything else will just, happen on its own. And then I started taking acting classes, and I felt like that was not so good for me. I felt like it was just taking away my natural whatever I had going on. So I stopped taking classes, and I just started working more, I think.
And so kind of reversing back to when you did you actually do a school play when you did No,
I actually tried out for one, and one of my best friends got it, and I was like, dang it, But
and that was your villain origin story.
So that's when I had, you know what I did do before I started acting? I forgot to tell you this. I got out of finals, I think it was my junior year of high school, to do a video for Don Henley.
And how did that happen?
Because my dad's a recording engineer, and we were just chatting one day, and he's like, you should be in my video. I'm like, okay. And MTV was huge back then, So doing that video was also kind of like, I really, really like this, But I don't know, self-doubt of just growing up without that supportive family around you. I didn't have that where you can do anything you want, Hence why I told my son every day since he was out of the womb, you can do anything you want, son. The sky is the limit, So. And
so, oh my gosh, so man, you had like right out the gate with Don Henley jumping in to help you. Yeah, you're getting discovered. So it's like almost like meant to be that you're in this.
Well, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, you have no choice. You have everybody going, you need to be in the industry.
And then when you start working a lot, because of my childhood, you think, oh my God, I'm not worthy. This can't be happening to me, no. And all that self-doubt comes into play. So you got to really practice. If you come from a crazy childhood, such as myself, you have to practice self-care, and just rise above it.
Yeah. And so you had mentioned that you were taught to listen. Do you remember who kind of gave you these?
You know what? I don't. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, where did I hear that? I wish I knew. I wish I knew, because it really works. Because if I'm just listening to you, and whatever you say to me, it just, and then I come back with whatever. It's kind of simple. Just listen, respond, listen, respond.
And so in that early part of your career, was there anybody that really stood out that kind of mentored you in that time period of kind of guiding you or?
Gosh, not really.
So you're just
no, I don't. I feel like Snoop Dogg. I'd like to thank me for no days off, I was always just patting myself on the back and lifting myself up. And I mean, sure, there's a lot of people I look up to as actors and stuff, like Robert Duvall, oh my gosh. But I always knew I didn't want to be an overactor. That much I did know. So, which might be to my detriment sometimes for certain roles. I don't know. Maybe I should have pushed a little more. I don't know.
And so kind of jumping into that, your trajectory seemed to be right out of the gate. You're getting and then when did 21 Jump Street come in? Or
that happened a couple of years later. And I remember getting that audition, and it was to play Johnny Depp's girlfriend. And I remember thinking, well, that could be cool, you know, a recurring role, shot in Vancouver. So I was very excited about it. And then I heard how many people were up for it. And I started freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, it's never going to happen. And then, you know, I got to just go, Yvette, chill, just breathe, go in there and do what you can do, and just leave the rest to fate, whatever. And that was a cool phone call from the agent.
And so your agent calls you and says that there's this opportunity, 21 Jump Street. You're going to play this role. You go in, you audition for it. In that process of the audition, is it like a long period of time before they let you know, or is it like multiple auditions?
Multiple callbacks, right? So every time you get called back, you're in a room with more people, and then more people, and your nerves are just like, ah. And no, it wasn't a long time at all. It's like, you're going to Vancouver in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, after many callbacks, though. And then I was told, like, you know, there was a lot of people up for this that were really good actors. I'm like, well, that must mean I'm a decent actor. Woo!
That's
you
true.
know.
Yeah.
So.
And so who, in those moments, for anybody who wants to be an actor, when you're in those audition rooms, are there any kind of skills or anything to calm yourself down, to bring yourself into that moment? Because
another thing I wish I knew who told me this, but when you're sitting in those waiting rooms, your nerves are just piling up, you know, and everyone's kind of just looking at each other, trying to play it cool and da-da-da-da, and some people are shooting the shit, and that's fine, but I like to just stay zoned in, focused, deep breathing in the nose, out the mouth while I'm waiting, and visualize myself going in there. Like when I'm waiting, I'm just sitting there visualizing each line, going through it, saying goodbye, the whole thing, visualizing it in a good way, right? And then if that doesn't help my nerves, someone once told me, just start looking at things, like look at that chair, you know what I mean? And just imagine a roach crawling up the wall, and you're watching, you know. So I started doing that, and I couldn't believe how much that calmed me down.
Because it's taking your mind off of that.
So I used to just look at the floorboards in these waiting rooms, and I would just see a cockroach, and, you know. And also I tend to hum, because it just, you know, there's these techniques you can do. I don't know if this is messing up your mic, but if you tap right here, I can't tell you how much that calms you down.
Interesting.
And if you rub the top of your thighs.
So it's like a sympathetic to a parasympathetic kind of transition. Yeah, that's great. And so you got the lines, you're trying to keep your mind in the present moment. They call your name, you walk through the door in this moment. Is Johnny Depp in the room at the moment?
No, he was already up in Vancouver.
And so then you get in there, you do, now do you remember how many auditions there were?
3.
And so each one, you're saying that the stakes get higher and higher, right?
Yeah, and you're kind of going, well, should I change it up a bit, or should I just do what I did, just do what got you the call back, you know? And then sometimes you overthink the call back, and so I just chose to do what I did the first time, because that's what got me the call back. And
so are there any notes that they typically will give you when you walk into these? Like, hey, we're looking for this.
It depends. Certain people just, let's see what you got. Let's see what you're going to do, right? And I like to ask, is there anything you want? You know, is there anything specific you're looking for? Those are fine questions to ask. They don't mind that. But yeah, sometimes they'll stop you and go, you know what, let's start over and do this, bada bing, bada boom. And it's so great to be directed. It's so great to have a nice note that you just, you click it in your brain and you're like, got you, no worries. You know, and that, which we'll talk about, I guess, at some point, but now a lot of auditions are self-tape and you're at home, you know, in your own home.
I've heard this.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking to not be in those rooms anymore.
And so, yeah, I definitely want to come back to that.
Right on.
Note to the cameras. We want to come back to that because this is great. Yeah. And so when you left the third audition, did you feel like you got it? Or
I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was very proud of myself that I went, whatever happens, happens, you know, because there were many years where I just obsessed when I left the room. Damn it, I should have done it this way. Damn it, I should have asked that question I forgot to ask, because that would have changed everything. damn it, that's why I didn't get a call back. You know, you just like wasted energy. As soon as you close that door and you leave that room, you have to let it go and forget about it.
That's smart. Or you do like Johnny Drama and Entourage and you go, nailed it. All you motherfuckers, I nailed this bitch. Go home. Like
I've thought of doing that a couple times. I was like, don't you dare. Don't be that person.
Kick someone in the shin or give them some wrong advice. They kind of want you to play it this way. Yeah.
Right.
And so you get the call. And is that one of the moments in your career where you're like, I'm in on this. This is where I'm going. This is what I want to do. Or
yeah, like I'm on the right track. I'm on the right path. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, you know, because I was living in a pretty shitty apartment, you know, in North Hollywood, and I just knew that I didn't want to live in this apartment forever, and I'd already been in there for like 7 years. So once I got on Jump Street, I bought a house.
No way.
Shortly after, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did you have, you kind of mentioned not, but the support from your family to say, I want to be an actor? I mean,
you know, yeah, the basics, all right on, you know, but it wasn't, you know, like, you got this.
Yeah.
What can we do to help? You know, but that's just nothing wrong with my family in that regard. It's just, that's just not, you hear these stories of, you know, my mom was my biggest, you know, my mom was a heroin addict, you know what I mean? So she would watch me on General Hospital from jail in Orange County.
Whoa.
I know.
Would she write you letters and let you know?
Yeah. Wow. And then I actually picked her up when she finished doing her time, and I had her move in with me in that apartment. And when I would go visit her at jail, the other people on the phones, you know, they would be like waving at me.
No,
like, Mom, I told you not to tell anyone. What if they find out my mom's in jail? I was really worried, you know, I might get canned.
Yeah, And so 21 Drum Street's going. You have enough to buy a house. This is amazing. At this point in time...
Well, let's be clear. That's also probably 100 commercials I had shot in the interim of television. So. And
so it seems like your agent at that time was kind of putting you into these positions to audition.
Right.
Is that kind of how it is now? Because everybody I'm talking to is like, gosh, I kind of do all my own shit, and my agent just collects the 10%.
Right. Well,
how has that changed?
I have a manager right now, and I don't have an agent, and I kind of like that. It's just one person. You know, I took a few years off, right? Okay, because a lovely family trauma that happened. So this manager and I, and this is about, I'm thinking about on my way here, putting things out to the universe. For me, I have to say things out loud.
Same.
You know what I mean? So when I jump back in, I would say every day, I'm going to be a working actor again. I would just say it while I'm walking my dog, you know? I would say it while I'm driving. I'm going to be a working actor again. And I meant it. And that led to me saying it out loud next to this woman one night. And turns out she's a manager, you know? And she goes, I'm happy to start sending you out if you want. I was like, no way. Are you? Like, again, like goosebumps. Are you kidding me?
Right now. Yeah,
and then I booked an episode of Criminal Minds, like 6 months later. It just, you know, it makes me want to cry. It's like, you know? Amazing. And I burst into, I mean, tears were shooting across the room when she told me I got that job.
And so, because we kind of jumped, there was a moment, I guess we can kind of retract, but I really want to stay on that. So, okay. So, so you took a long break because of some troubles that you were having in your life. At that point in that, did you feel like this was over? Like you might not ever do this again? Or
yeah, because what happened was, you know, not to get sappy, but my son's dad disappeared, like literally disappeared. He's still missing, right? Presumed dead. And I would go into these rooms and I couldn't focus. I just couldn't focus. So I felt like I was wasting everyone's time. So I just said, I can't do this anymore. And it was I've done the day jobs that no one would want to do. I wore a hairnet in the Costco bakery 3 years ago, you know, wrapping bread and putting pies in taking it out to the floor in my little beautiful hairnet. I mean, I didn't care. I just needed a job. But I sure missed the money from acting, right? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, Yvette, you got to go back in. You love it too much. You love it too much. I never wanted to be famous, right? I just wanted to work. So one day I just said, F it, man. I'm going for it. And that's when I started the mantra, right?
And how long ago was this about?
2 years ago.
Wow, so this is really new.
Yeah. And
so I guess we can kind of build into that because there's so much there.
I know,
We'll jump
sorry,
back to
I'm throwing you with all the
this
drama.
is great because like I really want. I have so many questions on your fortitude, what it takes for you to push through this, and then also because I also have given up filmmaking for long periods of time where it's like you're banging your head trying to make it, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing? What's the point of all this? And the money's not there, the opportunities, and like for me, I was filmmaking from 2007 to 2010, 11, and then I quit for six years. I got into working into an ad agency and kind of learning all the marketing side of everything, and I hung it up and I said I'm done. But there's just that little itch in the back of you, like I cannot not create. I just have so much visions. I have so many visions. I have so many things that I need to say. Yeah. And the only way I could say it is with holding this camera device. And so so I guess let's jump to your career. Is kind of on this trajectory of amazingness. You got 21 Jump Street. How long after that was RoboCop?
Oh well, I took a year off to have my son. Mm-hmm. He was born in 92. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And
at that point in time, to have a child, because it's still kind of, they always say for working actresses, don't have a kid right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I worked up until I was showing pretty big, and I was literally just tightening the buttons, I was doing another low-budget movie, and just, that was a good sort of reassurance. When I got the RoboCop series, that was a reassurance that I was on the right path to do this still for my living, even though I took that year off. Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course I had a mortgage at that time. I had, there's that. I got a mortgage. I really didn't want to go back to work. I wanted to do one more year with my son, but it just wasn't in the cards.
Mm-hmm. And so how did the whole RoboCop series come to be?
Okay, so taking that year off, you kind of lose your agent, right?
Yeah.
You make that phone call, hey, I'm ready to go back. And they're like, yeah, you might want to look for someone else. Like, shucks. So my dearest friend was an agent at the time, and he took me on as a client, and he's the one that got me the RoboCop series. Thanks, Pete.
And so with that, was it another auditioning, all of that, or how did that whole process go?
Yeah, all the producers were in Toronto at the time, so that was just walk in and be put on tape, right? Mm. And I remember when I got to Toronto, the executive producer, Stephen Downing, God bless his soul, he just passed like 3 weeks ago. Mm. He walked up to me, he goes, "You were always our first choice." And I was just like, again, I cry so easily,
me too.
Dude.
I'm trying to learn how not to. Yeah.
So I gave him a big hug, and and it was great, to finally have a lead in a series after all those years, and it was great. And I had my son with me and my German Shepherd. It was just great.
And so when he says that, did he say where he had saw your work or what work he was based off? That you were always?
No, he had never seen me. He just saw the audition that I was put on tape. Yeah.
Wow. And then, were you a fan of RoboCop before that? Had you watched the films?
Yeah, I watched the films, but I wasn't like hardcore, But I definitely loved the other Nancy. What's her name? Oh my God, that's terrible.
The original.
Yes.
Yeah. It's actually right behind you, Nancy Allen.
Thank you. Hi, Nancy. Yeah, no, she was awesome, and it was. I think I don't know why they couldn't use that name, her character's name.
I just studied this, actually.
Please tell me.
We're doing a whole RoboCop breakdown later on this today with my boy over here. Yeah.
God,
so what had happened is Orion was the company that had done it, was leaking and hemorrhaging money like crazy. Even though they had won with Silence of the Lambs Academy Awards, they did so many amazing big films. The back end of it, they just weren't able to keep the company. So they leased out all of the IP, and they sold all the IP. But in doing that, they couldn't use any of the names. And so when you see all of the act in the show, how they're all almost the same type of person, copy-paste, but a little bit different, was the reason that they had to, that was one of the caveats
I'll be darned.
to be able to do all that.
Well, thank you for that trivia.
Yeah, I was looking this up, and I was like, why didn't they? Because, but they would have liked to, but it was just like an IP money type thing. But if they did do that, you wouldn't have got the job. So
true that.
I'm really happy about that. And it was funny because when we started working together, right now I think it's on Prime. The entire series, RoboCop series, is on.
Yes.
And so
which is so cool.
it's so...
Sometimes I'm just bored. I'm like, I haven't watched this in so long. That's just why I'm like, oh, it's pretty good.
you were... I have said this, and I don't know if it's okay to say this on camera, but you really did carry that series. Like, when I watch the acting and the embodiment of the characters, you're the
right,
shining
because
star.
He's very, like, yeah.
And then your character was just, like I said, just the nuances. You were, and not to be a diss on any of the other actors, but just everything that you brought to that was so much elevated than everything else I saw. And then
trying to make me cry.
Well, no, that when we were talking on the phone, I was like, again, like the way in which you carry the characters was just really cool, and I'm just such a big RoboCop fan.
The writing was good too.
Yeah, it was very.
It was fun, man. I love doing all my own stunts. My poor stunt woman, she's like, Yvette, my call time was 5 a.m. Are you telling me again that I'm not doing anything today?
So tell me about that. I didn't know that. You did all your own stunts.
Well, I loved it, you know, even though I had a really bad back. But I let her crash the bus. Mm-hmm. You know, did you see that bus one where she goes...
I did.
Get some air, and I let her fall off a building, and then everything else was pretty much me.
And so the producers and directors are all cool with that?
Well, I did a lot of begging. I was like, come on, man, I can jump on a running bus. I can do that little jump up on the bus. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh my God, Yvette, fine.
And then you just keep going and going.
Yeah,
and going.
A lot of the fight scenes, I just loved it. Whenever there was a bad guy, I take it.
I love that. And so, so once RoboCop started coming to an end, because that was like, would you say arguably your biggest achievement at that point in time?
Yeah.
Was there any kind of doubt as to like what's next? Because I've talked to a lot of actors, and it's like I'm on a reoccurring character, and as it's coming to an end, there's this you know.
Yeah, well, we were sure we were going to get it picked up. Mm-hmm. Like we were all sure that we were going to come back to Toronto, so I kept my place there. Mm-hmm. And when we found out that it didn't get picked up, it was like, oh, bummer, you know. And by the time I went to Toronto and emptied out my place and got back, like about a year later, I feel like is when reality TV started hitting, mm-hmm. right? Which mm-hmm. took out a lot of slots in prime time mm-hmm. for the working actor that could get a job, get a residual once it reruns, right? So, and then movie stars started doing television, mm-hmm. which was sort of frowned upon back then. So there goes more jobs for the working actor. And I was just like tripping, going, man, this sucks. And I'll never forget seeing Catherine Zeta-Jones do a T-Mobile commercial. Yeah, she did that T-Mobile commercial, and I remember going, we're screwed. Like, we won't even be able to get commercials now. And it really mattered. Then all of a sudden, celebrities are doing commercials. So there goes all those time slots with reality TV. Movie stars are now doing TV because they have mortgages too, mm-hmm. and they're doing the commercials. So it just, you know, and then my son's dad disappeared, and I was like, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm out for a minute.
And do you think that going into how actors started coming into more TV, coming into commercials, do you think that was because the amount of studios started slowly kind of being absorbed, or do you have any reason of idea of why?
That's a great question. I do not know. I do not know, but it was really something that movie stars did not do TV. They would, we don't do TV.
I remember that. Even like watching, I'm a huge fan of the show Entourage, and even then they're always joking, like Vincent's always like, I will not do TV. I'm only a movie star.
Right.
I'm Vincent Chase, you know, and
right.
And that was like 2007, so that's like pretty recent.
Yeah,
that is, as soon as they jumped in.
Right.
Now it's like everybody's doing TV.
Yep.
I mean, less and less movies, and now TV.
And then you had the crash of 2008, and I had my own business by then, a clothing line, and I was like, well, I'll just do this. And that was fine for a while. Mm-hmm. So, you had kind of talked about not feeling confident, and I think as a director myself, is I always have this imposter syndrome kind of thing going. And I was raised by a single mother, and I'm very much a people pleaser. That's kind of how I was. I feel you on that, yeah.
And so navigating all of these spaces, there are a lot of times where I'm in those moments where I should be. I feel like I'm there, but then there's that doubt that's in there. And you kind of spoke a little bit on that. When that starts happening, which I'm sure it happens to all artists.
Yeah.
What is kind of your self-affirmation that you kind of do? Because I'm still doing it, you know?
Right. I mean, it's going to sound so cheesy. I just always say, you got this, Yvette. Mm-hmm. Just keep going. Just keep going. One foot in front of the other. Just show up, you know? Do the work and show up. If you show up, that's part of the battle right there.
And on time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you get to set, you bow to the set.
Yeah.
And you treat everyone the same. You know, everyone's equal with respect. And you show up with joy and commitment and just do your best. And, yeah, for me, it's just always, you got this, Yvette. Just keep going.
And so now, where you are in your career, what would you say the biggest difference is from the way in which things are being produced or residuals, or what is the difference between 15 years in the industry of where it is now? Because people I hear is like nobody's getting residuals anymore.
Yeah, it was great in the day when one of your shows would rerun, that residual check, you could just live on that for a few months. It was a beautiful thing. And now the residuals are just like, well, where are they? Please, anywhere at all, you know?
What would you say the residual, if you don't mind saying, what kind of ballpark? Because I've never talked to anybody about how much would a monthly...
Let's say you make $6,500 for one episode of something. You know, that first residual will be very close to that.
Wow.
And then the second one starts dwindling, and it dwindles, and it dwindles. And now I get these checks for literally 2 cents.
I've heard
from
the
Jump
2
Street.
cents.
Yeah. 1 cent. And I just laugh. It takes more to process that check, you know.
Yeah.
And then that episode of Criminal Minds I did, I got nowhere near paid what I used to make doing an episode of something. And back in the day, you could have your quote, right? Well, her quote is this. And I could actually turn things down, like, no, it's not worth it because I want to try and get this other job. You know, and then they would give you the quote, and like, oh, damn, now I have to do that. Okay.
And so you now, because you just did that episode of Criminal Minds,
right?
You're saying now that what used to be the norm of paying is now even
it's
more,
half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then, how do actors how do you make it? How do you? Because there's fewer films being done. Studios are being absorbed. There's less. There used to be, I think, 135 films a year. Now there's 60 or something.
Yeah. I wish I had the answer. I mean, I'm still doing day jobs. I walk dogs, and you know, so. And
so, is your dream to continue this path into filmmaking?
Yeah, with no Botox. That's another thing, you know, coming back with a different face. It's a little older and not filled with fillers and all that, which I have no problem with anyone doing it. I just have chosen not to. So, you know, please give me those roles, you know, of the drug addict or something.
And is there a pressure, would you say, because I know men, you know, like George Clooney could step on, I mean, that's he's George Clooney, but sure. I mean, like, there doesn't seem to be that type of pressure, and especially for women. And I'm working with more clients that are in the, you know, that are female, and it seems to be there's that extra pressure on that.
Well, I asked my manager. I said, "Be straight up with me. Am I crazy to not, you know?" She goes, "No. People ask, do you have any actors that don't have Botox?" So I'm like, "Yes, put me in that category." You know.
And so, would you have said that was the same 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Or,
that they want, yeah. I mean,
because that was when 4K really started hitting. I remember that. Yes, it was like everybody's freaking out, right?
But I will also lose many roles. You know, like I won't book a commercial for that mom that's, you know, picking up her kid from school or whatever, because they want that more. They want more of a, you know,
the Botox face.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I know.
And so. So that's interesting that you're saying that there are actually productions that are reaching out asking for people that are
directors. The directors are the ones that say, you know, can you send me some actors that can actually move their face?
They have an expression like, she's dead. Oh my God, she's dead. Yeah, totally. Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, your new avenue that you're on, or just your current avenue, is it more TV or film, or kind of where are you wanting to be?
It's whatever my manager can get me in the door with right now. But I think back in the day, I don't think I would have ever done a short film. I just would have felt like it was kind of a waste of time.
Interesting.
But I did an episode of Nash Bridges. I don't know if you know that show.
Of course, yeah.
And a friend of mine from that show hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, I just wrote a short film. You want to do this?" And I said, "Let me read it." So I'm sort of leading with yes right now. Whatever comes my way, I'm leading with yes and putting so much white light on it. And sure enough, it came out great. And his writing was great. And now I have updated stuff for my reel, which is very important.
Yeah.
Because they're like, "What do you got? Send me your reel."
And so let's talk about it. Like, why was short films kind of were you kind of adverse?
I don't know. I just felt like, who's going to see it? Why would I do it? You know, I'm working. So sorry, microphone. I don't know. I just felt like I was already working on other things. So why go do that? So I didn't want to miss out on something because I was doing a short film. But there's incredible short film festivals now. There's vertical films are blowing up, which I wanted to get into. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
Yeah.
I just wrote a short film.
Congrats.
I know, and people are like, this is really good. I'm like, yes. I just want to stay, I want my brain working anywhere in this business that I can keep sharp.
And so early in your career, you're more on single facet, I'm an actor, and now you're having to write now.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, we have so many mediums now to put stuff out there. YouTube wasn't around when I started. So that's kind of what I finally just started my YouTube channel. I haven't put anything on there yet, but I, got it going. And writing has always been something I love. You know, I did write a memoir about, the lovely hell of my life. But, writing that short film felt great. It felt like, yes, this is something, which makes me want to now write a full feature. I can't wait to shoot that because, of course, I put a role in there for me.
Of course, the best one.
And of course, she rides a Harley.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, because I'm, last night I went to the academy, the television academy kind of mixer where they're kind of bringing in new people, and I got invited to possibly join the academy, which is a really cool thing. But I'm here self-creating everything that I'm doing. I've worked for major studio type or production companies and whatnot, and now it's like I'm here in this place trying to figure out how do I continue this avenue.
Smart man.
Yeah, and now with the way in which New Hollywood is set, it's like the game has completely changed. And last night, while I was talking to so many people that had their IMDb's were incredible, I'm like, oh my God, you worked on this, you worked on that. They all seem to be looking towards people like me going, how are you making it? What are you doing? And it was such an interesting flip of a conversation because I came there to pick their brain. And a lot of the conversations I was having last night were them picking my brain. And it came to the point of like, holy shit, I think we are onto something of you have to be a full creator, a full expanse creator. You can't just be the one person who's just a director or just this. If we're going to be making it and we're going to continue to do what we want to do, making film,
just keep going.
We have to do it ourselves.
Have that mantra.
Yeah, and I think that's what's been so cool. Also he had said, speaking out to the universe, I got into this industry because I wanted to do narrative. And in around 2007, when the crash happened, 2008, everything moved to reality. And I kind of got put in that bucket. And it was hard for me to get out of that bucket into the narrative.
Interesting.
And so putting on this now going on my second year, I said, I want to do more narrative and I want to start meeting people that have the chops to be able to bring those to life. And it's funny, I'm now sitting in front of you and I'm sitting in front of all these other people who,
That's so great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. And then it's like, I just respect the professionalism and what these people can bring. It's like, I don't need the studio to do it anymore. I mean, yes, it would be nice to have $200,000 in a trailer and all these
amazing. You can edit your own stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, we need to really take it into our own hands and do it ourselves.
Yep, and something's going to hit. You just got to keep going, man.
And especially for actors, because you're just sitting there waiting for that. And in that one role, that director might say, I want this person to look this way in my head.
Right.
You could read that line so perfectly, but if you don't fit that you might not get it, right?
Yep.
And so as an actor, what type of roles do you want to start doing? Because you seem more in the drama.
Yeah, I would love to play, I would love to do a Western and just be on that porch with my rifle, protecting my land, riding horses. I would love to play a drug addict climbing her way back, I've played the detectives. I've played the cops. I've played, the Full House silly dating girl, whatever. But I want to do more gritty stuff where looks are not a big deal, right? Just put dirt on my face. Let's go.
Yeah, and in order to take the character seriously, you have to have that I can kick some ass.
Yeah, and by the way, I've always wanted to do gritty, dirty stuff. It's just those opportunities always went to people with a name, And there was one episode of a show called Chicago Hope. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah.
And I was playing a manipulative drug addict. Like, she came in with a bad knee. She was saying, "Oh, my knee hurts," and she just wanted to fix, you know. So that was kind of a fun role because I think Mark Harmon busted me or something. He's like, "Yeah, we know why you're here," and I just start crying. I'm like, "That's not why I'm here."
But do you got the drugs?
Exactly.
But I mean, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give someone who's coming into the industry who wants to be an actor?
Well, you got to really want it, right? For the work, not the fame. It breaks my heart to see these people that just want to be famous. You know, it's like, you don't even know what that does to people, or do you? You know what I mean? Do you really want that? I would say definitely get into a class, a good, reputable class. It's worth the money. And pound the pavement. Just show up and write your do those short films. Write your own short film. You know, these places, put those vertical films up. And that's the one thing I am now trying to do more is, I think you saw something I posted yesterday. Like, I just think, here's me, look at me. It always just feels so cheeseball, you know. I do too, but you know,
it's what you have to
you just never know who's going to see it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of casting directors that follow me, and what if they go, "Oh, I didn't think she could even look like that," you know what I mean?
Or even not even about them, about you, about getting those reps in, right?
Exactly.
Because it's like, you know how to ride a bike and do a jump, but it's like, if you haven't done it or you're not constantly doing it, when that moment does pop up, if you don't have those constant reps to keep you warm, you could fail and be like, shit, that's not my best showing.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that's really important.
And for up and coming actors, you know, just commit, be brave, you know, step out on that ledge and don't try to say it like you think it should be said. Say it from here, you know, down here even. Don't overthink it.
And so back to also, because this is part of the reason why I'm doing the podcast, is I was meeting with managers and agents, and they kept saying, you know, your face needs to be the brand. And I'm like, no, my products, my films, my things should be. And they're like, that's not the reality we live in now.
Right.
And so for 2-3 years, I kept saying, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then, you know, this last year, I'm like, looking at my bank account, looking at everything. I'm like, all right, something has to. This is the last Alamo. This is the last stand. I'm throwing everything and seeing what happens. And just by doing this, it's been so cathartic in a lot of ways, but also like, I'm now having conversations with people like you and other people, and I'm like, why didn't I do this? But there is that thing of not wanting to be cheesy and overselling and and it's so what now it is. Like, you're seeing influencers getting more acting roles than actual actors are.
That, right? Yeah.
And so now
they
it's
have
like,
this many followers, let's go with them, you know?
Exactly. And so then it's like, how do you work in that environment where that's the norm, but you want to be an artist, you want to be a creative. So like, how do you...
Well, I'm just now getting, like, I'm coming to terms with it, you know? I'm coming to terms with it's okay to post something you did. I should be proud of that, you know? It's also in how you word the caption, too, you know?
But does anybody even read the caption?
True that, you know?
They're just like, wipe my ass, okay, get up and go.
Like, I just think, you know, it's, you know, I'm thinking out loud right now, and I'm speaking for myself. I have to just get over that. My friend said to me once, she goes, "Stop being so fucking precious." And that just hit me, you know, because like I said, I never wanted to be famous. I don't want my face out there, right? I just want to do the work. If you see my work, great. If you think it's good, great, you know, but I just have this hyper anonymity thing that I have to get over, that I work on every day. So. And so,
I guess, what are your goals for this year that you want to achieve in the world of filmmaking?
I want to find those gritty roles, and if I don't, I think if I don't find them, I'm just going to write them.
I think that's
because my manager also produces a couple short films that I saw recently, and they were amazing. And she said, "I'm happy to help you with this." So if I have that in already, a manager that would, and she's on her game, if she's down to produce something I write, and that I also am in myself. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking right now, why am I even waiting to write that gritty role? Just do it now. Why wait? Because the problem is, you think you have time. I think that Buddha says that, right? The problem is you think you have time. That's another mantra I say every frickin' day. Siri puts it as a reminder every day. It pops up at 9 a.m. The problem is you think you have time. No, yesterday is when you should start. Today, right now, get on it.
Very smart.
Yvette.
Well, it's funny also, I'm in the process of developing a short kind of the same, because I really want to to keep the narrative going. And while I love documentary, I really do want to. And then this year, I'm really aiming for to try to submit something to Sundance and Slam Dance. And I've never done the film festival type thing. And, you know, talking with Michael on a previous episode, you know, he's done a lot of amazing things in the film festivals, and hearing, you know, just the doors that it opens. And so I think we're both on that same kind of vibe of make your own shit, start with a short, build it, get the IP developed, get the you know, people behind it, and see what happens, you know.
Right. So, good for you.
Yeah, well, I did send it to you, so I'm hoping you could be in my short film.
Oh, that one. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's do it.
It's called The Book Club.
I'm leading with yes.
Yeah, which we'll talk a little bit more as it comes along, but yeah, I'm really excited
honored.
about
That's
that.
very cool that you would just be like, okay.
Well, I have all these amazing actors now in my stable, my bullpen.
Sure.
And I'm like, how do I start writing parts for these people? Which has also been a good thing, kind of what we're saying of make it yourself.
Right.
Network, go out, meet people, hang out with actors, hang out with directors, hang out with people. And now I'm like, holy shit, I stepped back a year later having not known any actors.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh my God, I have Yvette, I have Brian, I have like all these amazing people. Let's put them together and start making some shit happen.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm really bad about you know, networking and all that, and going to specifically hang out with actors. I've always kind of like, I'm not a typical actor. Like, what does that even freaking mean, Yvette, you know? And I really, you know, I have this thing where I just hate talking about myself. But I jumped into a class recently. I kept seeing it on Instagram, and I knew the guy through other friends, and he just puts it on. It's called Actors Night. And I asked a friend to do a scene, and we did this scene, and it was like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? You know, just getting my feet wet and keeping them wet, and just keeping that brain muscle working and memorizing the lines and all that stuff. And now I have, like you said, a few new friends that are actors, beautiful people that we can pull on each other with these self-tapes, because you have to have another actor in the room when you do these self-tapes. Or you just, you know, record it on your phone, and it's just not nearly as good.
Yeah, I've heard the self-tape. There's a famous story. I think it was somebody for maybe Robert Rodriguez. Oh, it was somebody who was working with Quentin Tarantino, and they were putting an audition tape, and they asked Quentin to shoot it for them.
Right.
And it ended up being like so cinematic. And when they sent it in, they were like, "This is like really good. Who shot this?" Like, "Oh, Quentin Tarantino."
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, just who's in your stable, who's in your network, and who can help you start making those things.
Right.
Is there anything you'd like to plug? Because you know, Criminal Minds, that episode came out.
No, it's not out yet.
Not out yet.
Like, hopefully in the next few weeks.
Okay.
That was crazy. I'd never done a table read via Zoom. Usually you do a table read and everyone's around the table. And I remember sitting down, like my scene's coming up and my heart was jumping out of my chest, you know? And because all these regulars, they're on there. I'm looking at like they're all regulars for all these years. And my lines were coming up and I just went for it, like as if I was on set. And when I got to set, the director, Nelson, he was so cool. He came up to me, he goes, "Thank you so much for rocking that, you know, table read on the Zoom." And I said, "Really? Oh, good." I said, "You have no idea. I thought I was going to die. Literally, I thought my heart was going to be exploding." And speaking of being directed, you know, they always cover the regulars first and then the guest stars second. So by the time we got to my coverage, it was after lunch. I was exhausted. It's a pretty tough scene, right? And I'm trying not to come in with a food coma after lunch, so I didn't eat too much, and I stayed zen in my room and all that good stuff. And first take, the director comes around the corner, he goes, "All right, Yvette, she's sounding a little lucid now." And I was like, boom, copy that. That's all I need, just boom. One word. It's so nice to be directed, you know? And I guess if you don't get directed, then they're fine with what you're doing. But all the takes prior, I wasn't, you know, lucid at all. I was just exhausted, and I had forgotten how to, you know, after lunch. But the second he said that, I knew exactly what he wanted, and I went right back. It was all good.
Let's go into that. And I've been reading a book, Directing Actors, and one of the big things that I'm reading that I'm very guilty of is directing actors with a certain outcome that you want to get. When you say directing, being directed, what is the best way to be directed? Say a scene, maybe you're too much energy. One of the big things is saying don't say less energy because it's so, you know, it's so broad. What is the best way to direct an actor?
Well, it's always crunch time, right? It needs to be one sentence. Like, I'll never forget reading for Gary Marshall. He came up to me after I read it twice, and he walks up to me and he goes, "Okay, Yvette, let's do this next one like you're not double parked." And I got it, Or another director will say, "Okay, do this, and all you want to do is slap her. Through the whole scene, you just want to slap her." So those little tweaks, it makes your reading like entirely different. To say to do the next take like you're not double parked, I mean, I got it immediately, and I did it as if I was like parked and fine all day,
Yeah, because as a director from the docu side, it's like you have to be very like these people aren't actors, so a lot of times I have to overly. This is the product that I need, that I want, this performance. So I'm trying to lean into that, and it's like been really eye-opening to see from a director's point of view. You can't just say, "Hey, be mad at that person," because that's such
Give me more.
Right, or like less or more angry or that's really smart. You're double parked. That's such a
because I was rushing through the scene. Wow. I was rushing through all those moments. Well, I was nervous as hell. I'm reading for Gary Marshall, and in my mind, it's a comedy, so I need to be bada bing, bada boom, but. Yeah, no, it was great. I love to be directed. I love it so much. I wouldn't mind directing, actually. I've directed a couple things for friends in their shorts, but don't give me credit, which is another weird thing. Like, why can't they just...
Second unit that.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Totally.
And so what, maybe the last question, or a couple, how can you tell when you're working with a director who's seasoned and someone who's new? Is there Have you ever worked with a pretty out of a green actor or director?
Yeah, sometimes they're not sure where they want to put the camera, and there's a lot of time of trying to figure that out, and so they lean on the cameraman, which is great,
When it comes to actually working in your craft?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience other than that wait time of a director's not sure what he wants to do for the setup and where he wants to take it and blah, blah, blah.
And who's been the greatest director you ever worked with? That you went, holy shit, that was...
Wow, that's a deep question. I mean, I can say Nelson McCormick just because I just worked with him, and he was just so lovely, and that little direction that he gave me, because I honestly can't remember right now, I'm sorry. But I just remember looking at him and going, "Thank you so much, copy that." And he walked away, and I just nailed the next few takes because we had to do different setups and stuff. And after I wrapped, he came up to me and just gave me props, and it was just, to have that, and he meant it. He wasn't stroking me, it wasn't that at all. But I did see what he was doing prior, like watching while I was waiting for my scene, and he's got it going on.
Just as far as knows the tempo of the ride, knows everything.
Keeps a cool vibe on set. That's the most important thing to me. A director keeps a cool vibe. The ones that get all antsy and mad and yelling, it's like, dude, that's not going to help anything.
Yeah, especially because you're trying to have somebody work through something. You want them... Like, I find oftentimes when I'm trying to learn something, if somebody's harping on me, I have such a hard time. I get so in my head, and then I completely shut down. And so from my directing point of view, I'm always trying to keep my shit cool and keep it like, you do you, let's talk, let's have a conversation. And then it's like, as I'm directing, I'm going, what is the correct way to direct an actor? What is it, should I be like more like Fincher, because I'm watching all this behind the scenes, or I'm watching Tarantino, or it's like, I'm always asking myself, how does a director direct? And then as I'm now getting more and more reps, I'm realizing that it's like, you are your own director. You can't be anybody but yourself.
Something tells me you're going to do just fine.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I keep saying that. This is the year. This is the year. And then another year goes by. I'm like, this is going to happen sometime soon.
Yeah. So, I would say when you direct, just trust your instincts of how you want to approach that actor, because every actor is different.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. And just don't overly... keep things simple and everything else on that. So, so anything else that you wanted to take this time to share, or, I mean...
I love my son.
Yeah, I love it. So.
I mean, that's probably the biggest supporter, back to your other question. He's just a good kid, and I'm so proud of him. Yeah. So he's a musician.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
You'll know more later about him.
Well, so thank you so much for coming on the show. And like I
Thank
said, I'm such a big
you.
fan of you. And when you had finally reached, or when you had reached out to me, I was so excited to see
So
your name.
wild.
And I was like, holy shit, you ride. We're talking about riding. I'm going to go film motorcycling. And now it's like we're having a conversation.
That's awesome.
So I really appreciate you. And
Thank
actually, I
you.
did bring a gift. Do you like cornbread by chance?
I do.
Okay.
What?
There's this spot, shout out to Gusto in Long Beach.
All right. On.
And it's on 4th Street, and they have the best pan de maíz. And I wanted to give you this a gift.
Thank you.
If there's a little corner eaten off it, it wasn't me. It was some. No, I'm just kidding. But
I won't
yeah,
open it now because
yeah,
of the mic,
get
but
crumbs everywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah,
oh, this is
so-
perfect because I haven't had lunch.
I figured, and I said I had one as I was driving. I was getting out of the car, and I'm like,
oh,
"Ooh, those
amazing! And I
so-
brought nothing for you.
No, you brought yourself. And that's all we needed. So thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Really appreciate everything. Thank you. All right, guys. Like, subscribe, and oh, thank you to all the guys
Yes,
behind the
guys, thank
camera.
you.
So thank you, guys.
The mighty three over there.
Hey.